So, I've been watching the latest test where they compare the iPhone versus the Galaxy Note 9, specifically the XS or the XS Max, but typically they try to keep it comparison between the phones that both have the same screen size. MW Technology did the test, and in his test, the iPhone XS Max destroyed the Galaxy Note 9 in his own words, not even my words, because I know everybody will be, oh, yeah, well, you're just an Apple sheep and you're biased. Yo, guess what? This guy right here, and you can go watch it yourself, he did the test. XS Max destroyed the Galaxy Note 9 in his test. Now, I will say this. Personally, I don't really see scientific logic in comparing an iOS phone versus an Android phone. I can see scientific logic in comparing multiple Android phones and seeing which ones do what tasks faster. And ultimately, as long as everything has the same, the same operating system, as long as everything's running the same operating system and the same animations and all that stuff, for the most part, most of them will come close to each other, but the major difference made between them will be based on CPU speed and RAM speed, which in my opinion, the Samsung would most likely come out on top of the other Android phones. Now, there'll always be somebody, oh, the OnePlus is better and the Pixel's better. But Samsung, just like Apple, they put more refinement into their tech. And that's the reason why Samsung sits at the top of the Android market. Now, those new Razer gaming phones, I could almost believe might have a chance to knock the Samsung out because those things are so powerful until they actually need air cooling, and they even have liquid cooling heat sinks and everything built inside them, and vapor cooling in some cases. But as far as this comparison is concerned, watch the video yourself. MW Technology did a good job. He showed us that the XS Max basically eats the Galaxy Note 9 for lunch. So all those little angry Asians and those Indians who are typing these ridiculous comments and trying to argue with people, well, you can argue with MW Technology. You can go to his channel and you can see the test. His test, as far as I'm concerned, is fair enough, and the iPhone won. As far as battery life goes, basically, if you go to this guy's channel on YouTube, his name is Mr. Who's the Boss. He already did a full battery test of the iPhone X, the iPhone XS Max, the iPhone XS, and the Galaxy Note 9. Now, in his test, and I took a little picture at the end of his test. You can go watch it for yourself because otherwise somebody will claim that I'm biased. If you go watch it for yourself, you'll see that Mr. Who's the Boss's test, actually, amazingly, it actually surprised me because the Galaxy Note 9 has a 4,000 milliamp battery, but the XS Max only has a 3,174 milliamp battery. And I was actually surprised that even despite the Note's advantage, that it still lost the battery life test. But then again, everybody who I know with a Samsung phone, their battery's almost always dead. So, strangely enough, I'm not really terribly surprised by this, but I am kind of surprised that it was able to last that long. The XS Max destroyed it in the battery test. But what really surprised me is that the XS, which is an even smaller phone with a 2658 milliamp battery, also beat the Galaxy Note 9. So that means that both of iPhone's phones, the newest phones, have better battery life than the Galaxy Note 9, which is basically the top of the Samsung line. Now, he wasn't able to test it versus the phone, the regular phone, not the Note. However, the Note 9 has the largest battery that you can get right now. And, I'm pretty sure somewhere out there there's some Android maker that makes a bigger battery. But I have to wonder if they'd even be able to compete with the refinement that you find in the iPhone, which you don't find in most other Android phones. And that's ultimately the problem. You can throw together all these features. You could say, yeah, I've got a 10K screen. You've only got a 4K screen. At the end of the day, if your screen is killing your battery, or if your memory is using a lot of your battery power, or if your CPU has an older nanometer processor, and the process doesn't have the energy efficiency that the newer devices have, at the end of the day, no matter how big your battery is, it really isn't going to matter. MW Technology also did the third major test, I should say, the camera test. Now, as you know, I stick with iPhone iOS specifically because on my phone alone, I can shoot up to 10 hours of 4K 60 frame per second video, and I can finalize that video on the phone itself. I don't need to use a second computer to finalize the video. I'm editing just like I'm doing right now. I took a couple of pictures, I threw in some voice work, and I put together a video, and it only took me a couple of minutes to put together that video. And what I'm also doing is including a sample of a video that I shot earlier today from a car show that I went to. And even through just the display, before I watched the finalized product, I could see just how amazing this iPhone XS Max's screen is. This screen, it was so ridiculously crystal clear that it was actually obvious that it was slightly brighter than my iPhone X. So what I'm doing right now is I'm going to pop in this clip. But what I want to say is watch this guy's video review, because in the end, you can clearly see that the Galaxy Note 9's optical image stabilizer isn't as good. Okay, see, the guy's got a trike. The cops pulled over somebody. What's that about? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Let's slow down. Let's slow down. Let's take a nice look. Uh-oh. 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 Oh, man. Damn. They pulled over the GTO. Damn. So as you can see, this is the image quality coming out of my XS Max. Now, I tested my iPhone X on vacation in South Korea and Manila, and it was able to turn back amazing image quality. I was able to shoot 2 videos that were about 4 hours to 5 hours apiece, even though I broke those videos up because I recorded at multiple different times. But the iPhone, as far as I'm concerned, has the absolute best overall camera and camcorder image quality. And you'll also notice that despite my shaky hand, it also has better image stabilization than the Galaxy Note 9. Now, the only way to actually fully show that is to put both of these phones side by side on like a rig and have them try to take video of the exact same event. The thing about it is optical image stabilizing in this case is a software issue, and it just so happens that Apple has tuned it way, way better than Samsung has. So when it comes to recording video, all of my videos for the next year are going to be done on iPhone XS Max 512 gigabyte. I'm thinking about going on vacation to Dubai again and to Maldives. You know, that place that you keep seeing on Facebook where they're like, hey, look at this. You got this tropical super island. It's kind of like Seychelles. Like the last time I went on vacation like that, I went to Dubai and Seychelles. And the very last vacation was South Korea and Manila. And when I'm shooting these videos, it's like these phones, even they're water resistant. So it's like at any given time, you have to be prepared for rain and everything. But all of these phones are water resistant, so it really doesn't matter what company you're getting it from. But what's important to me is the image reproduction, the color reproduction. What's important to me is the optical image stabilizer, being able to give you the feeling that you're actually there if you watch these videos on a big screen television. So as you can see, the colors are fabulous. The image stabilizer is fabulous. Now, you're still going to have lots and lots of people saying that this phone was way too expensive. I absolutely disagree. I went and looked up the price of Canon EOS cameras that have the type of abilities that this smartphone has, coming out of my shirt pocket, ready to take video anywhere I am. I don't have to set anything up. I don't have to set up a drone and fly a drone around for aerial shots. I don't have to do any of that. And basically, when I've taken a look at these professional SLR cameras, obviously they're going to have far superior optical zoom. Obviously, they're going to have far superior color reproduction, obviously. The thing about it is, it's the convenience that I care about. As you can see from this video, you're looking at this Mach 1 Mustang, you're looking at the red color of this Tesla. You can clearly see the differences in the red on the aluminum body of this Tesla versus the part aluminum and part fiberglass body of the Hellcat that was in the previous frame. You can also clearly see the crisp greens. One thing I have to say about this camera is the dynamic range is extremely good. Even in the video that I watched from this guy who did the camera test, you could easily see in his pictures and you could see in his video that the color reproduction was perfect. The optical image stabilizer was better on the XS Max. And you could also clearly see that the dynamic range on the XS Max was better. And that's mostly because, yeah, Samsung has had a lot of experience making cameras. But when it comes to software reproduction and it comes to software finalization, Apple basically has taken the ball and they run with it. Like, you look at these photos, these video stills, the everything, it looks absolutely fantastic. And if you had like virtual reality goggles, you'd almost think you were there. One of the things I've noticed with Galaxy phones is a lot of screen tearing. I've noticed at the edges of images, especially in video, I've noticed there's more noise in those videos. Now, granted, not everybody wants one of these phones for the same reason. I used iPhone to build my YouTube channel. Crossed 40,000 subscribers. I should have like 41,000 soon. I'm not really worried about the subscribers. The only thing I'm worried about is putting out the content so I get lots and lots of views, because views equals money. Subscribers doesn't really equal money. So it's the views that I care about. That's the bottom line. The thing about it is, I built my YouTube channel starting from the original iPhone, and it didn't even have a camera on the original iPhone. I had to use an app, and it was jailbroken so that I could use the features on that thing as a camera. And when they did put the camera in, the camera at the time that it came out was a good camera. Every single time Apple updates their cameras, their CPU, and their memory, they make an overall great product, which is why I can say $1,600 for me was nothing to spend on a phone that had 512 gigabyte. In fact, if they had a 1 terabyte phone out right now that was $2,000, I would have just gone out and spent the extra $400, specifically because the ability to store 20 hours worth of 4K 60 frame per second video and finalize it on the phone, I would take that instantly. I'd max up my credit card. So there you have it. The iPhone XS Max is better. So the Asians can just keep on arguing amongst themselves, and they can argue about which Android's better. Nobody really cares. It just so happens, I'm sorry. I know you want to call me biased. I know you want to say I'm an Apple sheep. But test after test by other people who are not me is showing you at this point that the iPhone XS Max is just better. Now, if you can't afford it, and that's the reason why you're so angry, well, what I suggest you do is get your weight up and get a better job. Maybe save up some money. You know what you might want to do? You might want to go out there, collect cans. You could save up some cash from that. 5 cents adds up after you do it 1,000 or, like 1,000,000 times. But don't be mad because Apple comes out once a year and blows your Samsung stuff and your Android stuff away. Don't be mad. That's just evolution. You know what they say? There's always a bigger fish, and it just so happens that the biggest fish out there right now, the $1 trillion fish, look at the Trump finger, the $1 trillion fish is Apple. Samsung might get there someday if they stop making exploding washing machines. Google Pixel might get there one day. Maybe, I don't know. But right now, the $1 trillion fish is Apple iPhone.